All of our productions at GCTV are sponsored in part by Bay State Health, providing the care you and your family need when you need it close to home. Visit them online at baystatehealth.org. Greenfield Savings Bank. Visit them at 400 Main Street in Greenfield. Call them at 774-3191 or go online to greenfieldsavings.com. Greenfield Community College, providing access and excellence in higher education in the Pioneer Valley. Visit them at gcc.mass.edu. The Hammond Family. The Hammond family are longtime supporters of Greenfield Community Television. New Fortune Chinese Restaurant on the Mohawk Trail in Greenfield. Visit them online at newfortunema.com. Call them at 772-0838 and check them out on Facebook. Real Cleaning Services, cleaning Hampshire and Franklin County since 1972. We don't cut corners, we clean them. Check them out online at realclean.com. Call them at 413-422-1143. People's United Bank, located at 45 Federal Street in Greenfield. You can call them at 774-3713 or visit them online at peoples.com. The Solar Store of Greenfield, replacing fossil fuels and nuclear power one home at a time. Visit them at 23 Fisk Ave. Call them at 413-772-3122 or visit them online at solarstoreofgreenfield.com. Thank you to our sponsors for supporting all of GCTV's productions.
At this time, I'm pleased to introduce our two speakers this morning who will give us a past, present, and future perspective on transportation in Franklin County. We welcome Meg Baker of the Historical Society of Greenfield and Linda Dunlavy of the Franklin Regional Council of Governments.
Okay, good morning. I'm Meg Baker. I'm the secretary of the Historical Society in Greenfield, and we have a lot of stuff. Also, not enough stuff. So, when Diana asked me to put together with Linda a presentation on the history of transportation in Franklin County, it was a great opportunity to go through some of the stuff. We are all about pulling together the story and looking to the past so that we can inform the future and future choices. I don't have a little clicker, so I'm just going to notice. Okay, next slide, please. Any second. Okay, so when we think about transportation in the valley, we really have to start with the shape of the valley. The defining features of our valley really are the Connecticut River and the mountains that run through our area. It's easy in 2019 to think of Massachusetts as extending all the way out to here. But if we go back far enough, we're looking here at, I think it's a 1680 map. All of that where it says Netherlands and New York, that's under Dutch control. So our whole area, all along the Connecticut, is under Dutch, control. The Dutch established, yes?
Is the red line 495? Is that what that is?
It is now. Should be. So the Dutch established trade relationships with the native folks all up and down the Connecticut, and so we have major continuing Algonquin and Nipmuc place names throughout Franklin County. In terms of the people who lived there and still do. The Pequot people is cleared land, people of the cleared land, and that's from Route 2 out toward the Quabbin and Worcester and south. Peskiomska, and that's the Split Rocks, that's Great Falls in Turner's Falls. And the one that's hard, that I am not good at, is the Osawak, which is Buckland Coleraine. That's at the edge, and it means at the edge of the valley when you're going up into the hills. The way those hills work. So really looking at the Connecticut River, and this is where I want a pointer, the big wriggly part up the center there, that's all us. So that's kind of to put us in a framework of what transportation means. We have to think first about rivers. Next slide, please. All right. The other thing we have to think about is the existing transportation throughout our area. There were existing native communities. There were fur trade routes well established. There were Indian trails well established. A lot of these became lost over time. There's a wonderful long paper that was given by one of the first president of the Historical Society, John Aiken, on finding the Mohawk Trail. Because due to the mountains and the landscape, parts of it were very well established and clear. You could say, here's the 18-inch trail. It's been walked over for hundreds of years. But when it would go up a mountain, especially coming up out of our valley, the landscape wouldn't support a long-term trail. So there were pieces of it that were lost. The Dutch versus the English, there's a really wonderful piece there where the native people in southern Connecticut had great trade relations and went with some of the people they had great trade relations with over to Mass Bay and said, hey, we'd love to be trading with you too. And that didn't work out so well. Lots of stories there. So why is it not the Wampanoag Trail? It's because the Mohawk won. The conflicts there. Why we identify as the Mohawk Trail is because the Mohawk Indians were more victorious in native conflicts. Next slide. So then there winds up being the search for the old Indian Trail. Because how exciting is that if you're here in 1900 and you're a Boy Scout and you're going out. They would go on for these week-long expeditions. And one of the things that happened, this is in 1920, they identified finally the entire length of the old Indian Trail. There's several different places where you can still find pieces of it. I didn't include them all here because it's a little off topic, but trust me, there will be more exhibits about this at the museum in the future. But this trail goes all the way, like from Fitchburg all the way up through North Adams. So it covers like all of our communities are impacted by not only the river but also the native trails. Next slide. The other big thing that happens is a series of locks and canals. And this is the timeline of when the various canals were built coming down the Connecticut River. I'm most familiar with the ones in Turner's Falls and South Hadley, but it really stretches through a lot of our communities. And the effect that making river navigation open to riverboats, canal boats, it changed everything. And we have Cheapside right down here in Greenfield, where that was the original business Chamber of Commerce area, because that's where all the boats came in and landed, and people came up the hill to the Mansion House and Victoria and all the house and all the other big hotels and ate dinner in all the restaurants. Cheapside was the main booming place. Smead Island Fort. Who knows where Smead Island is? Okay, yay, thank you. Okay, so if you go down, if you go up over the notch past Poetsy Tower and you go down the big swoopy curvy road and you go across the bridge into Turner's Falls from that bridge at that angle, and you look off to your left, you'll see a bit of an island. That is Smead Island, and that was an Indian fort for a very long time, a native Pequot and Wampanoag. It's very, very, very far east for Wampanoag, but mostly Pequot and Pecumsett fort. And then it was destroyed by colonial settlers. But it's still there. And so when we walk through our landscape, when we look through our landscape, we can have these historical lenses on, not just only for the histories of our own companies and organizations, but the history of the landscape and the people and communities and trade relations that have been here for hundreds of years. Next slide. Ferryboat tolls. So it's amazing to me, going through this, how long it takes for there to be something besides boats and carts. There's a long history of boat tolls and bridge tolls. And then we have all these documents about the ferry. We have pictures, actual photographs of a ferry coming across the Connecticut River to dock in Greenfield at Cheapside. It's really cool. the system of bridges that goes through. We know from our recent history with the hurricanes that knocked out some of the bridges in this county that bridges don't last. So we have wonderful old bridge abutments and things. As you drive around Franklin County, you can see some of where these old bridges were. The Montague City Covered Bridge, which was wiped away in the 1936 storm. How is your community impacted by the 36 floods? Do you know? It's pretty cool. I recommend finding out. I would love to know too. All right, so then we move on. Next slide, please. To the beginning of like larger paved roads and broader industries. We really depend on coming to the edge, the early edge of automobiles. And 1892 is really like just before, but people are thinking about, how do I move stuff? How do I move stuff fast? How do I get where I want to go? So we're beginning to see roads go through. Next slide. They're not always the best roads. I mean, I think that's a shadow of the fence, but I have seen roads like that about this time of year. In Charlemont. In Charlemont, yes. So, yeah, there's a lot of comment. Like, there are journals we have and papers we have that talk about roads and travel, and like, oh, I can't get out this day because the roads are, soup. If you look now there's a beautiful mural up, and I know I'm a little bit speaking out of class because it's TD Bank North, and I don't know if they're a member of the chamber, but they have a mural in their lobby that shows Federal Street when Federal Street was dirt. And if you haven't seen it, it's cool to go see. Next slide, please. So we had an amazing public transport system by about 1900. We had trolley systems throughout Franklin County. The Shelburne Falls Trolley Museum sort of holds a little bit of the history of that's left. But we really had this amazing public transport system that everybody used all the time. And then we had things like this 1903 guide to trolley trips, because you could just do that. Why not? Let's go take a day-long jaunt around the trolleys. Next slide, please. Because you could take, this is the electric streetcar trolley map for the Connecticut Valley. You could go basically from one end of the river to the other. It's pretty cool. Next slide. Then you have this amazing thing where we become a tourism destination because of the intersection of the river, the beautiful mountains, trains. I haven't even really talked about the trains. I could do a whole long thing on trains. We wind up being this wonderful, beautiful place that people want to vacation in and visit. There's a beautiful triangle between Deerfield, Greenfield, New York City, and Chicago that establishes all these beautiful artists coming to Greenfield and Deerfield to get inspired for all their Art Nouveau designs and all of their beautiful pastoral scenes. So that's a really neat to think about, that Franklin County was a center for that sort of activity a very long time ago, and still is. So this brings us up to, next slide, 91. And if you may remember my comment last time, months ago, 91 is huge. The impact that putting 91 through our county had is just gigantic. There were whole towns that disappeared. There were family farms that disappeared. So we at the Historical Society are really interested in this particular time of history because it's easy to stop at World War II. And that's it. It's like we collect up to there and we stop.
Those are Warner Brothers trucks.
Those are the Warner Brothers trucks, I'm told?
Quite possibly.
That's pretty cool. So yes, we're all connected. So this is a particular collecting interest of the Historical Society right now because we want to pull that out. People in this room remember this happening. And that is a part of the switch over from the past to the present, and hopefully can guide us into the future. So if you were around during this event, we'd love to hear it. probably the historical societies in your own towns would love to hear it. And please be in touch. And from here, we wind up into a whole new age.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Linda. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Liz. I'm Linda Dunlavy. I am not just the former chair of the chamber with silly trivia questions, but I actually have a job, and it's with the Franklin Regional Council of Governments. I started with the Council of Governments as a transportation planner, so I'm a big transportation nerd. And I have so many slides because in 10 minutes, I'm going to try to make you a transportation nerd too. And helping me is Maureen Mullaney, way back there from the Franklin Regional Council of Governments. We have been friends for a long time, can complete each other's sentences, but have not done this presentation together. So we'll see. It's going to be great. Okay, so let me also say that I'm going to say, where is this? In a lot of the slides, you have 5 seconds to scream it out because I've only got 10 minutes to get through a lot of slides. So, here we go, Mo. Okay.
9 minutes.
I got 9 minutes. So, roads and bridges, important part of our transportation infrastructure, but as you will learn, not the only part. So, first one, where is it? Yes, this is the roundabout at GCC. Thank you, Liz. I told Liz she has to be my girl during this presentation. Wait, go back, Mo. Go back, Mo.
That's the rotary.
Yeah, well, a roundabout is a circular intersection designed to improve circulation and capacity. If you love roundabouts, blame the Franklin Regional Council of Governments. If you hate them, blame the Regional Council of Governments because we hired an engineer from Scotland who loved them, brought them to Massachusetts. So, next, as you know, is the rotary. The rotary is not a roundabout. And there. A rotary is much larger, usually 2 lanes. It used to be our highest accident location in Franklin County, but we worked with MassDOT to add travel lanes and signage so it acts more like a roundabout, and hopefully it's safer.
And less like a Thunderdome.
And less like a Thunderdome, exactly. Next one, Mo. Where's this? This is Turner's Falls Bridge. Taking care of our bridges is a huge part of the advocacy work the Council of Governments does. Remember when there was netting underneath to capture the debris falling? Glad that's not true anymore. Next one. Where's this? Irving Paper Mill Corner on Route 2. Since 1995, we have been working on Route 2 safety improvements, the most dramatic of which is this area of Irving. This included a major land swap between the Irving Paper Mill and MassDOT to create this. Where's this? Next. Some of the things we do are less big. Yes, this is Sunderland Route 116. We added these lane dividers, some signage, some speed controls to improve pedestrian safety in this area. Next. Where's this? This is a hard one.
And Shelburne Falls on Route 2.
Coleraine Shelburne Road, Route 2. Thank you, Liz. Liz is on fire. This was an intersection improvement to improve sight distance where we reduced the vertical curve and the horizontal curve to improve the safety at the intersection. And when I say we, by the way, we is the Franklin Regional Council of Governments, engineers, the municipalities, MassDOT, Federal Highway, Federal Transit, and a bunch of other stakeholders. We could take the credit for it all, but that doesn't make sense. Where are we? Greenfield Mountain. This was an effort to get passing cars out of the opposing travel lane. There wasn't enough room to add a second travel lane, so we increased the size of the shoulder. Slow-moving vehicles get into the shoulder so that other vehicles, I don't know why this dump truck thinks it's going to go faster, but so that when people want to pass the truck, they stay in their travel lane. Where's this? Sunderland 11647 intersection. You may remember this was a very funky intersection before this. But the thing I wanted to show you on this is we also work really hard to try to retain village character and historic character by relocating but keeping the perennial beds on all four sides of the intersection. And please notice the beautiful, lovely historic mast arm holding the traffic lights. So it's not just roads and bridges, buses and rail. This is the FRTA route map. Sadly, with the construction of 91 and the reliance on vehicles, our public transportation system now is less robust than what Meg was telling about. That said, we try to make the system as effective and efficient as possible, and one thing to make that happen is the John W. Ulver Transit Center, which acts as the transit hub. But we also made sure to site the transit center on rail lines because it was our long-term goal to bring passenger rail back to Franklin County. That occurred in 2014. First time we had passenger rail back in Franklin County since 1985-ish. Okay, but we're not done. We also want to try to get people comfortably out of their cars. Anyone? Where's this?
Middle of the field.
Why, yes it is. It was a path leading to the Green River swimming area that is now part of the Franklin County Bikeway, a system of on-road and off-road facilities to encourage biking. Okay, and where's this?
That's the Bridge and Turners.
This is the bridge, the railroad bridge going over the confluence of the Deerfield and Connecticut rivers that is now this, part of the bikeway. Where's this? This one's hard.
Greenfield.
This is East Mineral Road at the corner, at intersecting the borders of Irving and Montague. It is now a multi-use, non-vehicular bridge. Where's this? This is a trick question. There is no before picture. Why is there no before picture?
Because it didn't exist.
Because the bridge, we had to remove the bridge. There was a project to lower the tracks on Greenfield Road, and it made the soil so unstable, we had to literally remove the bridge. And after many years, was replaced with a non-vehicular bridge, multi-use bridge, just opened a couple years ago. We also at the COG make bikeway route maps that include some information on how much hill you have to go up and down so that you know before you ride. And we have added striping and bike travel lanes and signage to tell you where our bikeway is. And we had a grant recently that towns got free bike racks. 11 towns took advantage of this, and we have 189 new bike parking spots in Franklin County. Whew. We also work on pedestrian facilities. There's a new Massachusetts program called Complete Streets. Complete Streets is making the street safe and comfortable for all users, includes a lot of sidewalk projects. This is sidewalk being rebuilt in Sunderland. We're working with 10 towns on similar projects. And we also work on hiking trails. And thank you for all the people during breakfast for looking at our new Mohican Mohawk Trail map. Go out and live your history. Right, Meg? Okay. But we're not done. Transportation planning does more. We got funding to rehab the trolley car at the Shelburne Falls Trolley Museum. We got funding to build the Greenfield Energy Park. We got funding to put in electrical charging stations for cars in Franklin County. We've been working to think about filtering the gross runoff from the roads so that these plants are filtering that runoff before it goes into the storm drain. And we've built park and ride lots in Whately and in Charlemont and in Greenfield, but we're not done. Hold on. There's more, Liz. So there was a federal scenic byway program that meant federal money for designated scenic byways. Western Massachusetts took huge advantage of this. There are 7 scenic byways in Western Massachusetts, 5 of which run through Franklin County. Hopefully you recognize this sign because one of the major projects we did was a marketing campaign of the scenic byways that included this signage. And the funding was also used to protect views like this and views like this. And the other thing we did is recognize that I-91 is a major corridor moving peoples and goods. Why not also move information? And so we worked with MassDOT and the Federal Highway Administration to install telecommunications fiber along the I-91 corridor from the Connecticut line to the Vermont line, recognized by President Obama and the Federal Communications Commission as an innovative way to expand broadband in unserved areas, and now acting as the backbone for all of the last mile efforts happening in Western Mass. So that's the last 25 years. Let's look, how am I doing? Okay, let's look at the future. We are in the process of updating our long-range transportation plan right now. Obviously, we need to focus on our road and bridge system and making it as safe and accessible as possible. Some might say this is a problem. What is it? This is the General Pierce Bridge, slated for reconstruction, rebuilding in 2021? 2021, thank goodness. We are also trying to think about how we can improve bicycle facilities and bicycle access and are looking into a shared bike program. And the future can be yours today because we have started a bike-friendly program. You'll see some paperwork on the tables. Please think about being a bike-friendly program so that we're encouraging cyclists to use our region. Transit. Our vision for transit is that we go from a system of big buses on major roadways to a really integrated, more nimble, more flexible system so that we are looking at how we can use school buses in the off hours, how we can integrate the use of Uber and Lyft to get people from the hills to our major transportation system, how we can use smaller vehicles, Council on Aging vehicles, and get them full and serving more of the region. And so this one we see as an exciting project to work on in the future. And then finally, doesn't this look lonely? Don't we want more rail service? Yes. So we are working, a whole bunch of us are working to advocate for more north-south service. We currently have the Vermonter, which is one round trip a day. Starting sometime this summer, we will have a pilot program. You're going to hear more about this because this pilot program, we have about 2.5 years to double ridership to make this a long-term increased rail service. But this will be two new runs in the morning, 2 new runs in the evening and at night, and 1 more on the weekend. And if I have time, do I have time? We are looking to name the passenger rail service right now. So get out your cell phones and go to www.menti.com and put in the code 15699. And there's a piece of paper giving of this slide on everyone's table. And then Maureen, do you know how to get into Menti? Who's a transportation nerd now? Me. Did Liz say me? Yes. So, hold on. thank you for voting, and I encourage you to go and look at the laptop that's not showing up here, because what it's doing is it's bringing all of the bubbles to where you're voting, and we are tallying what you think the name should be right now. How we doing, Maureen?
Valley Flyer.
Linda, what are the the originating and destination points on this train? So like, where is it going from where to where?
It will be expansion of existing Amtrak trains that currently stop in Springfield, and will go stop in Holyoke, Northampton, and Greenfield. And
Massachusetts.
it's just expanding more service up to Greenfield. But what it will allow is for round-trip train service to New York City in a day, which is not possible from Greenfield now. And we are done, and I'm so sorry that this almost worked. But thanks, everyone.
So Mary Noga had put a suggestion in the suggestion box about 6 years ago that why don't we have cake for breakfast. So actually this is for Marion. Thank you very much. April 5th, we're having a big celebration at the bank. Everybody's invited. There will be cake, balloons, ice cream, whatever it is that you do. All the offices, yes. So everybody's welcome to that. It's amazing to be the president of an organization like this that has been around for 150 years. I said to our board of directors the other day at our annual meeting that we are an organic institution, meaning we are constantly changing, we are constantly evolving. But the spirit that is Greenfield Savings Bank lives on, and I really, as I look out at this group, I feel the same way about this group. You know, we're all here together to help our community and support our community, and we're going to change over time, but our mission will not. And as I said, it's an honor to be the president of this organization. I invite everybody out for April 5th, and hope to see you there. Thank you.
Our productions at GCTV are sponsored in part by Bay State Health, providing the care you and your family need when you need it, close to home. Visit them online at baystatehealth.org. Greenfield Savings Bank. Visit them at 400 Main Street in Greenfield. Call them at 774-3191 or go online to greenfieldsavings.com. Greenfield Community College, providing access and excellence in higher education in the Pioneer Valley. Visit them at gcc.mass.edu. The Hammond Family. The Hammond family are longtime supporters of Greenfield Community Television. New Fortune Chinese Restaurant on the Mohawk Trail in Greenfield. Visit them online at newfortunema.com. Call them at 772-0838 and check them out on Facebook. Real Cleaning Services, cleaning Hampshire and Franklin County since 1972. We don't cut corners, we clean them. Check them out online at realclean.com. Call them at 413-422-1143. People's United Bank, located at 45 Federal Street in Greenfield. You can call them at 774-3713 or visit them online at peoples.com. The Solar Store of Greenfield, replacing fossil fuels and nuclear power one home at a time. Visit them at 23 Fisk Ave. Call them at 413-772-3122 or visit them online at solarstoreofgreenfield.com. Thank you to our sponsors for supporting all of GCTV's productions.